So we are here in the now officially titled Den, in the bar area of the Garden Cinema, with you lovely people from City Lit who are very kindly agreeing to take part in a little discussion post-screening, and you've just watched The Passenger.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah. So the 1975 film starring Jack Nicholson as part of the Jack Nicholson season. So this is not a film that's on very often.
No.
So first of all, had anyone seen it before?
No, not seen it before, but quite an interesting experience and quite enjoyable. So I was quite impressed with the acting skills of Maria Schneider. Actually, I did read a little bit about her in that she was actually a film extra, and her father was a connection with Bridget Bardot, and they sort of vaguely knew one another, I believe, and that's how she got into the film business and got her first part. So that was quite interesting through Bridget Bardot. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
I think that film was just after Last Tango in Paris. She was on the radar, so to speak.
That's right.
But it's a weirdly muted film, and it's not a hugely known film, despite its two protagonists having done quite high-profile work. I think Jack Nicholson had recently made One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as well.
75.
So, so it's interesting to see that it kind of fell under the radar. Even now, reading the reviews, they're quite mixed. So what are
Not for me. I saw it at the time.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. This is my fourth time on a cinema screen.
Oh, right.
It's one of my favourite films ever. I've seen it on TV as well. It's just the coolest film that there is.
Well, okay, talk us through.
Jack Nicholson. Every guy at the time wanted to be Jack Nicholson, I think. He was the coolest actor around, I thought. The photography is beautiful. But from the opening shots in Africa and the long sequences in Spain, the photography is absolutely superb. And Maria Schneider is magnetic. I mean, she was, I guess, still very young, I don't know. But you can't take your eyes off her, even though she obviously had made at least one film before, as you were just saying. But it's just, every time it's on, I try to see it, because you need to see it on the big screen, because having seen it on TV, it's not the same impact seeing it on your TV at home.
No, I agree. The cinematography is huge.
Absolutely wonderful. Let's say both the shots in Africa and the shots in Spain. I mean, the scenery is superb. It lends itself to good photography. But it's just a hypnotic film. I just love it.
It's an interesting point you make about the cool factor, because as it happens, Locke is not a particularly cool character, is he? He's it's experiencing some sort of midlife crisis. He's not where he wants to be in his professional life. His marriage is undergoing crisis.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting protagonist for him to play.
Yes.
He plays ultimately someone who's quite uncool and getting in way over his head in this mess of identity theft story.
And he doesn't know what he's doing.
No.
And his wife, of course, dumps him in the final scene. She didn't want him any more than he wanted to be who he was. So they're both well out of the marriage, it seems.
Did anyone else go in expecting something else?
I didn't know what to expect. I never even knew about the film, so I was going in with completely green, I suppose. But as soon as we all come out, the first thing we were saying was the cinematography was fantastic, the acting was superb, and then just trying to process it as to, okay, what does it all really mean? What was the message that we were supposed to be receiving from that? And is it that you cannot run away from yourself, no matter how hard you try? And it was interesting hearing towards the end the story about the blind man. Was he trying to improve his life by having the operation, and then after having that, finding that actually things had changed, but not for the better? And was that what Jack Nicholson's character was feeling as well? He tried to run away from one identity, absorb another identity, try to run away from his old life, but things hadn't got better. So were those two things going on in parallel? I'm thinking through that still, because haven't you just seen?
Because
Yeah, I think it's like the grass is always greener, isn't it? You know, it's like thinking things are always going to be, that person might have a better life than you, but
it's quite an impetuous decision made in that hotel in Mauritania or wherever it is to switch. Chad, is it okay? To switch characters. Wasn't it easy with passports in those days? You could just pick it off with a razor blade and unstick the photograph.
It looked really simple.
I don't think we do it now. But he doesn't know who he's going to be. And of course, it's a very bad choice.
Yeah.
But they were a lot of the characters were aimless, weren't they? I mean, even the original arms dealer, he didn't really know what to do with his life. He was saying, oh, maybe I'll go to London, maybe I'll go to this, it doesn't matter. And I think Jack Nicholson's wife, Rachel, she was on some levels very aimless. Clearly he was aimless himself because that's why he wanted a change in life. And the Maria Schneider character, really, she was supposed to be doing architecture, but she seemed quite happy just to give it a go.
Yeah.
So they were all sort of a bit lost.
She had been seen. There's an initial scene when we saw her.
Yeah.
That's the Alexandra Road flats in West Hampstead, which were just new at that time. They were built. I mean, I'd been there. My profession was town planning, and I'd been to that development just before this film was made. Coincidentally, to see it because it was very well publicised in the early 70s.
It looked like a Brunswick Centre, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a Brunswick.
I think it's Alexandra Road.
I've seen it. It is in West Hampstead. It's very similar to the Barbican.
The Camden Architects Department was very good in the early 70s. They built a lot of good stuff, and that's part of it.
But it was that vast square, wasn't it?
Yes.
Sort of, one person in there.
And then she pops up again. Why in Barcelona? Why is she in Barcelona when she was in Camden?
Yes, but later in the film, he did talk about coincidences, didn't he? I don't know.
Yes. He says, I've seen you before.
Yeah.
As we were shown this in the film, he hasn't seen her for long.
Yes.
Many months before, it seems. I don't know if you remembered her. That's quite good.
We go through quite a long time period, doesn't it? It stretches across what, months?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. We aren't told, but it must.
It was September '73 from the diary, wasn't it? Because
that's when all the appointments in Spain were.
Yes.
But when did he pick up the diary in Africa? What month was that?
It always seemed hot. It always felt summer.
Yeah, wherever he was.
Well, it was
Apart from the flashbacks to London.
Yes, it was in Africa.
I think the last sort of scene, the last shot, looking through the railings and watching Maria Schneider walk backwards and forwards and other characters going back, and there was an old man with a dog. There was so much going on, and you felt almost like immersed in it, and as if you were there watching, and that's the wonder of the way it was shot, I think, for me.
The camera goes through the railings.
Goes through the railings.
Yes.
I've looked it up. Technically, that's quite difficult to do.
What does it call that? There is a special word for that. As you go through windows, like a camera travels through a window.
Yes, it's a long take, but there must be a special name.
It was 360 degrees, wasn't it?
Yes,
it came right back to the
yes, they took the window bars out in order to achieve that. I mean, I've looked it up. It's such an amazing shot.
Right.
And you can tell there's something quite ominous about it.
Absolutely.
The way it's shot. I think for me that's one of my favourite scene in terms of
it is full of sort of foreboding, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was ominous because when I did see the film before, and I remembered that last scene, that square and everything, but for some reason I was expecting some violence at the end this time, and that was because I've come away from the first time I saw it with this sense of something ominous, and then I was surprised this time. There wasn't a shootout or anything.
Remarkably little violence in the film.
No, it was actually calm, but the tension.
Yeah.
Yes, the tension's there, but then she just disowns him.
Yeah.
Never seen him before. I never met him or whatever.
I did read there was another cut of the film with another added 9 minutes.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that added any more violence here. Maybe it's on that version.
But as you say in the film, he's very understated, not dramatic.
Yeah.
In some ways atypical Jack Nicholson film.
No, exactly.
Maybe that's why he's got the rights.
Well, that's it. If that was a role that he might have.
It's quite a low-key character.
Yeah.
But the things happened to him. I mean, it was just obviously a spur of the moment decision. Like, I don't want my life. This is a way out of my life. I can be Robertson.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering all this out loud because I'd seen Blow Up, but for some reason, I don't know. I'd read this, just the very basic synopsis of The Passenger, and thought immediately this is going to be an action film. But it's going to be like The Italian Job or something. And I sat down to watch an action film.
You didn't get that, did you?
But even the title, The Passenger implies on some level you're not in charge of your own life. And he literally takes on someone else's life.
I mean, who do we think is the passenger? Surely it's him.
He's the or is it Maria Schneider?
Well, she kind
tagged along with him.
She makes the conscious decision to go with him.
Yeah, but she's still a passenger, isn't she?
She's a passenger.
Which is quite.
The original title of the film, wasn't it? Profession Reporter.
Reporter, yeah.
As opposed to The Passenger,
Exactly.
It was renamed.
Well, what's the story there? Does anyone know? Was it renamed? Was it a subtitle of the film?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I didn't read into it more.
No, I read that as well. That it was. I think it was renamed. It was The Reporter first of all, and then they changed it. But for what reason, I don't know.
I mean, we're quite early on in the season. But are you planning on seeing any of the other films?
We'll be here for the next few Mondays. So you've got 5 easy pieces, I think, next Monday.
Yes.
And then
Chinatown
the following Monday.
Yes.
So,
I haven't seen 5 easy pieces since it came out, so that'll be interesting to see it 40 years on.
Yes, see, that's not very well known.
And Easy Rider,
Easy Rider
which
as
is
well.
one that I'm really looking forward to seeing on the big screen, having seen it on.
Well, that is, of course, the iconic 60s film.
Yes. And so on.
I love the film, so that'd be an interesting thing.
Does anyone want to bring up anything else about the film?
I thought all the scenes of different hotel receptions was fascinating.
Yes.
It was just, they were all somehow all the same and yet all different. It was interesting.
I liked the first scene when he is in Africa, and you've got the scene in the hotel, and it's this insects. The camera focuses in on the insects on the wire in his room. I thought that was wonderful. You see it from a distance and homing in on the individual.
But looking at insect as you're talking, I was sort of half expecting him to swat it and to have blood splattered, and then later on, right at the end, there's that white wall in the Spanish village, and he splatters something. But he doesn't splatter, but it's red. You get as if it could have been.
It wasn't an insect. It was a
flower.
flower.
I think it's a flower.
Yeah, it was a flower, but it was a similar sort of. If he'd smashed that insect, it would have been blood. But he didn't. But then he smashes a flower on a white wall, and his.
Talking about hotel receptions, Ian, the scene where his wife's in the phone booth and he's about to check in. She didn't say anything. She clearly saw him. It's her husband. She doesn't call out anything. No. She lets him run out into the street with Maria Schneider. Yeah. Doesn't say, "Oi," or anything. Or what are you doing here? I found you. She just no dialogue, which I thought was it's a bit odd, because I think if you'd gone to Spain to find your missing husband, presumed dead, and then you actually see him, you would surely say something.
I thought the same thing. And again, I find some of the motivations behind the characters' actions quite nebulous. Why would you they kind of seem to just go along with whatever the fate has in store for them.
Again, the passenger
and
going along.
The passenger, yes.
Exactly. They're not in charge.
But Rachel is trying to get a grip on her life, and she obviously suspects that something odd is going on. And there's David. She clearly sees him, and she doesn't say anything.
No, but that was the same.
I don't think anybody's in charge of their lives in the film.
Well, no, maybe not. No.
The hotel reception bit is interesting because the film starts with that and ends with
yes.
Nice rounded,
and hopefully they nearly all speak English.
Yes, wherever you go, they speak English.
I think the desert scenes were amazing at the very beginning as well.
Yes, weren't they just?
Yes, the vast areas of just sand and desert and
then his Land Rover runs into the sand and he's stuck.
In the sand.
And one of my favourite pieces of architecture in the world. I mean, I love all of Gaudi's architecture. I don't think I've ever seen another film filmed on the roof. Is it Casa Batilla?
Yes.
I mean, when I saw that, I was amazed. It's one of my favourite places in the world. I just love that. So I'm not aware of another film which has been made.
And then the director put in that not necessary scene of him going in the cable car across Barcelona harbour
Yes.
and flying out of the window. Well, I've been in that cable car. It's terrifying.
I've been in that as well.
I wouldn't dare do that.
That had echoes later of Titanic for me.
Yes,
and then later on,
but of course
Maria Schneider's in the car looking backwards and doing a similar thing.
This, of course, is 25 years before Titanic. So it's the same action.
Yes,
but that's quite a scary ride across that cable car. And he leans out of the window and puts his arms out and looks down at the harbour water. I didn't do
scene,
that.
as you just mentioned, Ian, where she asks him again, "Can I ask you a question?" What was the question? What are you
running away from?
And he says, "Turn around, back to." And what was that about?
Well, it reminded me of Breathless when they're going down another road. In France, of course, that time rather than Spain.
Yeah.
With the white bands painted on the trees, and it's a very similar scene. So it's black and white. And that was a scene.
But that is a beautiful scene.
Yes.
Again,
in the back of the car.
Yes.
It's actually beautifully shot. But am I missing something here?
There wasn't anything to see. I mean, the road was empty, wasn't it? Maybe that was it. Empty again.
Just beauty of the trees.
Running away from the world. Yes.
Because
he doesn't answer the question, does he? Apart from
no, he doesn't.
Turn around and look.
Yeah.
Other than to say it was beautifully shot, the whole film.
The whole film was beautifully shot.
It's just lovely.
It's gorgeous to look at.
And those shots of us, I've not been for years, but they were clearly, that would have been like just before Franco died, wouldn't it?
Yes,
so it was the last years.
Oh, yes.
Franco went in '75, I think, so it would have been just before.
Just before that.
Spain was, a bit behind, wasn't it, in some ways?
Yes.
Barcelona looked very sort of run down, but still quite evocative, whereas I think it became quite glitzy in the 80s and 90s. I've not been for so long.
And we mentioned colours a little bit earlier. I mean, in that long tracking shot at the end, there were vivid red colours a couple of times. There was the boy who'd suddenly appeared in the middle with a really bright red shirt, throwing the stones at the old guy. And then there was another lady, I think she had red shorts on or red shoes or something. Again,
Running,
really vivid.
running.
Coming across the screen.
I mean, it looked beautiful. And again,
the school children, they were all vivid, some bright colour. Was it green or something?
Yellow.
It's the kind of colour saturation you only really get on film.
Yes.
Digital filming, you don't really get that anymore.
No.
I feel I need to see this again because I think a bit like you, I was half expecting an action film because that's what Jack Nicholson's films are.
Exactly, that's it.
Give or take, but
Antonioni films aren't.
That's it. I went in thinking it's a Jack Nicholson film given the season, so that's what that was the kind of in.
I think every scene you're absorbing the background, what's going on. Apart from the actors, you're seeing the actors there, but you're absorbing everything else, all the details that he's shooting, and as you said earlier, the colours are all coming out at you. And there was one scene. Further on in the film where they're sitting in that sort of reception, there's lots of green plants.
Yes.
Did you notice that was sort of beautiful? You couldn't but help look and at the greenery and take that all in. And as we said earlier about the desert scene as well, so that was also colourful.
I do wonder if a filmmaker could make a similar film these days. I have a feeling it just wouldn't be received the same way. I think that you can't quite get away with, maybe because of how we make films now, because so much of it's digital. In terms of the primary role of the background, of the scenery, of the setting, of the landscape, I can't think of a film in very recent years that does that, where the pace of the action is actually quite slow, and it's all in the way this person evolves in this landscape.
I mean, it was a very European, I suppose, arty film with a really cool, becoming iconic American actor. That's quite an unusual culture difference, isn't it? Yeah. And you're trying to think of a film today which compares to that. You don't. I can't think of anything at the top of my head. I'm sure there must be a few made, sort of European arty films with American cool actors, but I can't think of anything at the top of my head.
Local hero with Burt Lancaster.
I suppose you had Burt Lancaster in The Leopard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite an old film as well.
That's quite old.
Early 60s.
But if you're saying about modern times, no. I suppose no. It's not. They're not made like that anymore.
No. Right, that's one to ponder.
Yes.
So it looks like, obviously Jack Nicholson, he had a very busy period about 1975. One film after another. That was his.
When was Easy Rider made?
69, I think.
Oh, so yes, much older.
I think that was the first time I think we'd seen him was Easy Rider,
Yeah.
I think. So it seemed a bit clunky when they said he's British, but of course he went to school in America. Which explained his American accent. Maybe it was designed for a British actor originally. I wonder how Jack Nicholson got into the film.
He took the identity of a British person, so he had to have.
Well, yes, but who cast Nicholson in that role? Yeah. Maybe it was going to be somebody else. I don't know.
I did wonder that, and I don't know. I didn't find the information. But that was my first thought because I thought, given the films he'd done previously, I found it quite surprising that he would be cast in such a role.
Yes. If he's taken the rights to it, then he must have been quite proud of it.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was miscast.
No, not at all.
Not at all. No,
it worked.
It
really
worked
well.
very well, I thought.
Yeah.
Yes. Some of his films are off circulation for quite a long time.
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
For example, that wasn't shown for a decade or two, at least.
This is from IMDb. So
Must be true.
It must be true. Wanting to protect a piece of art that he loved, Jack Nicholson bought the rights to the film shortly after its release and kept it out of circulation for many years. In 2003, he entered into negotiations with Sony to re-release the film.
So he says he loved it. He says, did you say he loved it?
Yeah, but then kept it hidden from view.
Because, as you say, it wasn't shown. I saw it in the 70s, and then not again, obviously, till
right.
about 2003, or I wouldn't know when it was. But it was shown in the Empire Leicester Square. I remember seeing where I went to see it.
There was a re-release in 2006.
When I must have been about then. That's when I saw it for second analysis. Yes.
Quite interesting. It says when Antonioni received his Oscar in 1995 at the Academy, asked Jack Nicholson to present it to him. Yeah. Jack Nicholson has said that publicly that The Passenger is one of his most favourite of his own films.
There you go.
So, yeah.
There wasn't a lot of humour in the film, but it did really make me smile when he telephoned the car agency again and said, I'm not going to Yugoslavia, I'm going to Barcelona. Yeah, that's right, for the rest of my life.
Because that's what he said to when he first put the car.
When he couldn't decide where he was going.
So he repeated the line, yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yes.
it really made me smile.
I mean, did Avis co-sponsor the film? They got a lot of name checks, didn't they?
A bit of trivia here. Maria Schneider was suffering from terrible back pain during the filming of and she was on medication apparently quite a lot of the time. So I think there was in one scene, I think Jack Nicholson actually had to be a prop, according to this blurb I'm reading here online.
Which had to lean on him.
Yeah, that's what it says here.
She was quite young, so it's tough if she got a bad back at such a young age.
He originally wanted Donald Sutherland as the part of the reporter, so that's what you were saying.
Okay,
It's the Star Rail he wanted Donald Sutherland.
Yes.
But he'd have just made
Don't Look
Don't Look Now in
Yes.
73, the same year, or just before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I found a little
Keep
trivia on this.
going, Jackie,
Share
keep
the
going.
trivia.
About this film. And it says here at the very bottom, it basically says Bollywood actress, I've never heard of her, Simi Garwal, was considered for the lead role in The Passenger. This was when Maria Schneider was in drug rehab and had to opt out. Just as Simi gave her approval, Maria got a letter from a doctor that she was fit for the film, and Simi lost the chance to act with Jack Nicholson. I don't know if this is true.
I haven't heard of her, I'm afraid.
Some bitterness around.
Simi and Susan lost
Exactly.
Jack Nicholson.
What's wrong with this?
Quite a few casualties.